Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we have a review of PlayArt's Kai Final Fantasy X Yuna. And I'm super excited for this figure. I just reviewed Titus. I got Yuna first, but I kind of been holding back on this one. If you don't know from my Titus review, I'm a huge FF10 fan. That's what got me into Final Fantasy. I had never played a Final Fantasy game until this came out for the PlayStation 2 back in the day. And long story short, me and a buddy played the whole thing through together. Got everything except for like Wakka's ultimate weapon. Did everything else in the game, and I had never completed a game like that ever, or spent that much time playing a single game in my life. And here we are, 20 plus years later, and I finally have some Final Fantasy X stuff. If you've watched my channel for a while, I've got a lot of Final Fantasy VII reviews, Bring Arts, Play Arts Kai, and while I love 7, it's right behind 10 for me because I started with 10. I love turn-based games too, so I'm replaying 10 right now, actually. I haven't played it in years, so it's been kind of nice to re-go through the story. But regardless, here we are. The box art on this is fantastic. And when they did the re-release, the HD upgrade, maybe 12 years ago, they did release some PlayArts figures, Titus and Yuna. I don't have those. But I watched some videos, and these new ones definitely look better, designed better. They look better overall, in my opinion. So we'll look at Yuna here in a minute. But the box art for Titus was blue, and this one is more like this sunset pinkish. When Yuna performed the sending, I think it was at Luca. She performed that sending. That's kind of what you see here. This taking place. But if we look a little closer, this is a really nice look. This has got it's raised, indented, whatever you want to say it is, almost like a silver look there, PlayArts action figure, Yuna, and then it's for 15 years and older, and there's a choking hazard for 3 years and younger. And if you notice here, if you're a big fan of 7, you might know that Nomura was the one that did all the artwork for the characters. And he did the same for FF10. So all the original art design for the characters was done by Nomura. So that's pretty cool tidbit. I like how it says that there. And this is an official product. It has the hologram there. As you can see, it's not a bootleg. Here's the side of the box. And the back, it just shows 2 figures. It shows Titus and Yuna. I'm hoping that they add more. We get the whole party for FF10, like they did for FF7 Remake. I would love to have the entire party of this. So I'm hoping, nothing's been announced yet, but I'm hoping that's the case. And then as you can see here, I'll zoom in a little bit. It says collect all figures in this series and over 20 points of articulation. I didn't count the points of articulation in Titus, but I believe it definitely is more than 20. So that's pretty cool. And then there's some legalese, and then there's the UPC. And then, like all PlayArts, there's magnets here and here to keep it closed. Unfortunately, I think the magnets fell off of the box. That's kind of a common problem. I don't think the glue they use is very good. So as you can see, it's not staying closed. So the magnets are likely in there. You could just take some glue if you wanted to put the magnets back up. But it's kind of a bummer that packaging, as cool of an idea that isn't really functioning well. From when they do it in the factory to delivery to someone's door. But as you can see here, what's cool about PlayArts is when you open it up, you see the figure behind the window. You see everything you get. You get a weapon, you get a second face sculpt, a second hair sculpt, and then hands, and then these kimono-like forearm sleeves she wears. And she actually comes with more hands than Titus. I think Titus had 6, and she's got 8. So a couple more hands. An extra hairpiece. Titus had 2 face sculpts, but only 1 hairpiece. So she gets a bit more than Titus, although he gets blitzball. So that kind of makes up for it, I guess. And then here are some pictures of the figure. There's no write-up. If you have any of the FF7 remake figures, there's a write-up here talking about the world. But if you haven't played FF7 or 10, I won't go into too much, but she's on a pilgrimage to stop the main bad creature in the game. And she's a summoner, so she's one that kind of summons all they call them Aeons in FF10, which is like the summons, like Ifrit, Bahamut, Shiva. She's the one that does all this in that game, and it's a really cool mechanic system. I love the mechanic system and the combat system in 10. So she's a lot of fun to play with, especially when you start getting into strategies with the Aeons. But if I zoom in a little bit, you can just take a look. She looks really good. We'll check her eyes. If you know, with her in FF10, she is half albed, and so she has one green eye and one blue eye. So we'll see. I can't really tell from the packaging if they got that right. I sure hope they did. That's kind of a big deal. So let's get this thing unboxed and take a closer look at Yuna. Okay, and most of these Play Arts figures come with directions, so it shows you how to change out the hair and the face plates. I'm pretty sure you can change out both face plates with both types of hair. So we'll test that to see what that looks like, the difference there. And then it shows you how to put her kimono sleeves on. You pull the hand off, the sleeve slides up. If you happen to have the Tifa one from FF7 Remake, one of the Don Corneo dresses, it's kind of the same way that works. And it's not for both sides. And then it shows her staff, her rod here. You got to pull the bottom piece off. And you got to be careful with that piece. It's really fragile. So we'll take our time taking that off. And then you slide the rod into the hand. And the back here just shows you the generic stand that these Play Arts Kai figures come with, and it's in legalese. But I wanted to show you guys real quick. I haven't taken anything off, but out of packaging, she's got a piece of plastic covering her front and one covering her back. And if you ever open one of these Play Arts Kai figures, or even Bring Arts, they are surrounded with plastic everywhere. And so you can like pop the head off to pull the plastic off. I think you can probably pop most of these joints, and most of them are ball joints. What I do is I just kind of pull the plastic until it rips, and then I'll carefully pull it out. So just note that when you get these figures, you're going to have some plastic to remove. And they do that to protect the joints in shipping, to protect paint from not sticking or transferring onto, like, you know, maybe like the flesh tones, things like that. So it's nice that they add that protective layer, a lot like Hot Toys does. So kind of a premium format there. So I'm going to get all this plastic taken off her, and then we'll take a closer look. Okay, and here is Yuna and everything she comes with. Real quick, as I mentioned, those magnets did come off in the box. As you can see, there it is on the bottom of the box. You can put some glue on these and put them inside the box if you want, so that front flap closes. But here she is. She comes with quite a bit, a nice amount of accessories, I think. Here you can see the generic stand that all the Play Arts Kai figures come with. Now, I will say this, there's a new line coming, Play Art Shin, and it's going to have round bases with the name of the character. So closer in line with Hot Toys. So I'm pretty excited to see that. I have Vincent on pre-order, and I think it's a step up, and not for much more than what she cost. We'll talk about that later, though. But here's her rod, which is kind of the opening weapon she uses. I think it's called the staff as her first weapon. But as you get rods and stuff in the game, a lot of them look the same, but they do different things. So that looks really good. We'll look at that. It's painted well. There's the additional head sculpt and the hairpiece, and then the extra hands, and then the extra kimono sashes for the arms. More of a flowing look. And then here is Yuna herself, and I think she turned out really good. Her eyes on both head sculpts are done correctly. Her right eye is green, her left eye is blue, which is accurate to the game. And then here's her her attire. Nomura definitely did a more traditional look for Yuna compared to other Final Fantasy characters. This is more of a traditional Japanese garb in some degrees. You know, you have the yellow obi, the sash there. That looks really intricate. We'll look at that in more detail. The hamaka is this purple skirt. And then, of course, the kimono-like sleeves that she has in front. But let me actually pull the figure in closer. And you can probably see the eye color. It's hard to tell on the camera, but that's you can see it there. Her right eye is green, her left eye is blue. And as far as the face sculpt, it looks really good. Looks like Yuna. It's a nice soft sculpt that most of these Play Arts Kais have. They have a lot of soft sculpts. Her hair is done really good. You can kind of see where the split is, where the hairpiece comes off to pull the faceplate off. And we'll look at that here in a minute. But I just kind of look at all the intricacies she has. There's her necklace. It's actually painted really well. And then this tassel she has that's, I think, part part of her ear. I forget where it's located. Actually, if you look here, yeah, it's part of her earring. As you can see here, part of her earring. The blue earring she has in her right ear. But yeah, they did a really good detail on her. And then there's her sash. That obi turned out really good, that yellow sash there. I believe in Japanese writing somewhere it says her name. It might be that flower. At least I thought in the game it says Yuna. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Numura said that Yuna is like an Okinawan word for night. So that's what her name means in Okinawan dialect. And on the back of her obi, she has this beautiful ribbon here tied up, or bow, whatever you want to call it. Look at the detail. I'm going to zoom in even closer. You can see that pattern. Look at that yellow, the darker yellow and lighter yellow pattern, apart from the flowers. Man, the paint apps are really good on this. And then there's her spaghetti strap undergarment she has, which is, again, accurate to the game. Yep. She has her ring on her finger. There's her bracelet. I think that bracelet will come off. Yeah, the bracelet's loose. Much like Titus, he has one in his left hand, left wrist. Now these are not on ball joints. They just kind of hang out. And I feel like they're sticking out pretty far. Oh, this one does. This one does move. Maybe they do move. It's hard to tell. The one back here seems to move in and out. The one in front, though, they do rotate. Well, they're not in a ball joint, so you can't really get them to go down. But with her flowing dress and movements, maybe you kind of want them out like that. I don't know, but they look good regardless. And then her dress, move her hand out of the way. Man, look at that detail. Let me move her arm up so you can really see the flower pattern, the floral pattern there on her hamaka. Hakama. Hakama, it's what it's called, sorry. And then her boots, they're supposed to be black, and here's what's weird about it, is this is black, but this looks like a dark purple. So I'm not sure why they didn't make the whole thing black, because her boots are definitely black in the game. You can see the difference there. Black, and then like a dark purple. I feel like that's kind of a mistake. Not a huge deal, but it definitely is a little weird. It's hard to tell if you don't just stare at it. You can't really tell. But I think she looks really good. Let's go over articulation. I'll zoom back a little bit. Articulation real quick. Kind of standard Play Arts Kai. Head's on a ball joint, so she can't really look up because her hair hits the back of her shoulders there, but she can look down really well, as you can see. You know, obviously she can tilt her head just a little bit, and not a lot again because of the hair. And then she can, of course, turn her head. Arms do go up over 90, and they're really smooth joints. They're kind of, I think they're ratcheted a little bit. Well, this one's not. This one feels more ratcheted than the other. But those go up over 90 like that. And then you can rotate this joint to bring the arm in front. It's a little bit of a different type of joint that Play Arts does with their figures. So you have to rotate it to do that type of movement. And then there's a bicep swivel, which is hidden behind this kimono piece, which is really nice. And then double jointed elbows, which look pretty good. And then ball hinge wrist pegs, which are ratcheted. And the shoulder does drop. You can see that gap there. You can just push it back up. And then she does have, she's on a ball joint, which moves really freely. There's actually two. There's one here and one here. So she's got a double ball joint. So she can go forward pretty good. Go back, even with that bow, she goes back pretty good. And of course, you can tilt her all sorts of ways. And then the legs, real quick, you can see here, there's her legs. They are on ratchets, but because you have the skirt here, the hakama, you really can't get her to move too much. And then she has double jointed knees. It's hard to tell. Double jointed knees. Boots don't rotate. The feet do rotate, and they're on a soft ratchet. And then toe articulation. This one's stuck. This toe articulation's pretty loose though out of the box. So one is stuck, which I have to probably heat it up. I might not even mess with it. I'm not a big fan of toe articulation, but that's her articulation. So pretty good. The skirt is cut, so you can get, you get some extra movement if you want, but I'm just gonna probably leave her the way she is. I think she looks good like this. Let's take a look at a couple of the accessories now. Here's her staff, and it's painted pretty well. I do have some paint bleed right here, unfortunately. You can see it there in the light. But a little bit of bleeding right here, just a tad. Not too bad though. That blue metallic paint they used is really nice. And then here's the handle. And this tassel was in a bag, a plastic bag, kind of like this, so it wouldn't break in shipping. I think Sonon had an issue where this tassel was breaking in packaging. So I think with Yuna, they made sure they had it, packaged in a way it wouldn't move around and break. But I think this comes off and her hand slides up. We'll play with that off camera. I don't want to break anything. We gotta be careful pulling that out so you don't pull this tassel apart and possibly break it. And then here's her other face sculpt. I don't really know how it's much different. Honestly, look very similar. Maybe this one's more smiling. This one may be smiling a bit more. But as you can see, that's how it plugs into the back of the head, and then the hair piece comes down on top. In fact, right here is here's a piece of it right here. Well, I'll actually put it together and show you. So that goes like that, and then I think it slides up. It slides up into the head to attach. So I'm not really sure the difference in the hair sculpts here. Again, very similar. This tuft's coming out more here, but it's not very different. Let me pull this off right now and see if we can do this on camera. Trying to pull this hair piece. My first time doing this, so it's probably good you see how this works. Boy, it's not easy. I'm gonna have to do it off camera. Okay, you see this plugs out. You just gotta pull that out from the hair to get it to work. So we're gonna take this face off, and we're gonna now plug in this other one. It's not the easiest thing. You have to kind of go down. You have to go down and in with it. It's kind of a difficult connection, but once you get it, it's not too hard. Oh, I see the difference now. Look at that. It kind of covers her hair in the front. Well, I don't know. There's not much difference in my opinion. There it is. Actually, I think I like this head sculpt better. Her head can go back more with this head sculpt, with this hair sculpt. Yeah, it looks pretty good. She looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do some poses now. Okay, just so you can see here, that does unplug. Just be very careful. Don't try pulling it from here because this little black ring might break. I kind of used my fingernails and pulled it out. And then you take her fist or hand and just slide it up to hold on to the rod. Okay, so looks like a little QC problem here. I'm unable to pull these off. I've used the hair dryer on this whole area and even in here, and I cannot pull these off. My Tifa, they came off no problem. And I'm so afraid I'm pulling so hard, I'm afraid I'm gonna pull this elbow joint apart. So I don't know what to do. I wanna show these ones, these straight cuffs for the video, but I just, these aren't wanting to even come off. They're not even twisting. So I don't know what they did in the factory, but I can't seem to get these kimono type piece sashes off her forearms. So let's just go ahead and do a couple poses. Okay, I finally got it off after really heating it up, and it was stuck. The paint was stuck on here. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's why you can see right here the paint came off. It was the paint got stuck. So if you have a copy of this, Just be careful because it's real hard to pull that off. You really got to heat it up to get it off. Okay, I successfully got this one off a little bit easier with some more heat, and now she looks like some type of horror figure. But I got those sashes off, and I just wanted to make sure I could show you guys how that goes. And then the other pieces, you just take these and they just slide. I believe they just slide in like so. It's definitely a tight fit, which is good though because you don't want them falling off. And they definitely have some weight to them. As you can see, her arm does hold it up, but they do have some weight to them. Okay, so now that we got that done, let's go ahead and do some posing. Okay, so I have this really cool image art book, Japanese art book from Final Fantasy X, and here's the work that Nomura did for Yuna, and it kind of gives some stats here. If I can pull this book is really big. It shows here Yuna, age 17, height 161 centimeters, birthplace Bavel, I think 161, maybe like 5'4", I think 5'5", something like that. But here you can see her eyes, the different colors, the green and blue. And then this is the pose I tried to replicate here. If I lift this up, there it is right there. Because this is molded plastic, it can't hang down. But it's kind of like the picture that Nomura drew for Yuna. So a very simple pose, but I think it looks pretty good. Okay, and real quick, here's another picture from that book. I'm going to try and replicate this. She is performing the sending. So let's see if we can get this thing posed like that. Okay, so here's this painting, this picture here, and here's what I got right here. Not a perfect replication, but still pretty cool. And she has those flowing kimono forearm pieces going. Of course, she's like on top of the water, so I'm using the stand here to kind of angle her forward a little bit. But you can get some really dynamic poses with her, and these different types of kimono sashes you can use in their forearms really make it look like she's in motion. Pretty cool. Okay, here's a couple more cool shots of Yuna as she's performing that sending. That's a good one down there. And then this one right here, I'm going to try and recreate this one right here. That's a really cool one. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so here's that shot. And then here's what we got right here. I'll zoom my camera back a little bit. But yeah, she can pretty much replicate that shot. So, nothing extreme going on with these poses, but as you can see, she can replicate these shots pretty well. So that is pretty cool. I'm liking this figure quite a bit. Had to play around a little bit with it, as far as getting these things taken off with the heat gun, but overall it's pretty good. Okay, and here's a nice little pose of Yuna. As you can see, I've got her hand on her chest. She's holding her staff, her rod. And overall, this figure just looks really good. Really good. It's not perfect like most play arts. Not perfect. But overall, it's really good. Paint apps are really good for the most part. The floral done on her skirt here is nearly perfect. Her obi, the bow on the back, is like perfect. So it's done really well. I'm really liking this figure. I'm really glad I got her. Let me do some comparisons now. Put her next to Titus and a few other FF figures. All right, here she is next to Titus, who also just came out. These both came out, I think last year, summer of last year. And she comes in at 9.5 inches in height, and Titus is like 10.25. So I think that's pretty accurate based on the in-game models, if I recall. Titus is definitely taller. They're both, 17 years old, so they're both very young. But boy, man, looking these together side by side, I've got Titus has got his blitzball right there. But putting these together like this, man, that is a great look. Great look. Yeah. So glad I got both these figures. Let's put her next to a couple other figures now. Okay, here's Yuna next to Aerith Gainsborough in the Don Corneo dress from Final Fantasy Remake. And then, of course, next to Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy Remake as well. Um, I've always felt that these two games are very similar, at least in appearance. I know people thought maybe they're the same world somehow, but I think it's just the Numera art. It all comes across and blends together nicely. Okay, and this is the comparison I wanted to check out. This is Tifa Lockhart on the right from Final Fantasy VII Remake with one of the versions of the Don Corneo dress, the more oriental look. And you can see they both have the obies on. If I move Yuna's arm back, you can see there they both have those sashes. They both look really nice together. On the back, I think Tifa also has a big bow. Of course, Tifa's long hair gets in the way, but as you can see, there's also a bow back there as well. So I think on your shelf, if you didn't have Titus or whatever, and you have this Tifa figure, I think they would match up pretty good. But Tifa is much taller than Yuna. I also think at this time, Tifa's older too. I forget how old Tifa is, but I don't think she's 17. Well, let's see. Cloud was like 20-something, 21 or 22 during Rebirth. So I think she's about the same age. So yeah, she's a little older than Yuna. But definitely a lot taller than I expected Yuna to be. Than Yuna. But yeah, overall, these look really nice together. So at the end of the day, is this PlayArts Kai Yuna figure worth it? Well, that's where you got to make a decision because she's not cheap. Most of these imports, if you live here in America, are not cheap, coming from Japan. This figure, in most places, is $194.99. And that is, in my opinion, pushing it. Almost to the point where it's like Hot Toys level. And the quality is not as good as Hot Toys, obviously, but it's pretty good quality for the most part, I think. I got this off of Amazon for $189 and no shipping. So a few bucks cheaper than like BBTS, which has it for $194. Square Enix North, $194. I typically get these from Japanese online retailers, but I waited too long and they were sold out. They currently have Tifa or Yuna in stock at Plaza Japan for $210 as of this recording. And that's not worth it for the shipping. Getting no shipping and $189 at Amazon was the best I could do. So my opinion is, any way you can save money on these PlayArts, Bring Arts, because being imports here in America and wherever else you live, if you're not in Japan, it's an import. They're not cheap. They cost money. So you have to try and do what you can to save as much as you can. That way, you get more savings, you can get more figures or whatever else you have to do in life, buy groceries, whatever, fix your car, important things. So anyways, I'm rambling, but overall, I think it's really good. I'm glad I have her. Is she worth it? I wish it was cheaper, that's for sure. I'm glad I have it though. So for you, you have to weigh the balances. If you really like Final Fantasy X, if you love Yuna a lot, I think this figure is worthy of release. I think they did a great job. That obi, that sash turned out great. The kimono sleeves look really good. The fading of the pink into the white really looks great. The weapon looks good, the rod or the staff she has. And that floral dress there turned out great. And then on the back, just look at the back one more time. That bow turned out fantastic. Fantastic. Love it. Really good figure. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about FF10? Is that a game you like? Do you enjoy playing it? What did you think of Yuna? I think overall Yuna's universally beloved by most people. I think she was a good character, had a good story arc. I do have to play 10-2. I never beat it. It was so different compared to 10, and I just thought it was a crazy direction they took. But the more I'm thinking about it, the more I want to play 10-2 after I replay 10 here. So I might give 10-2 a look. I know there's a lot of dress spheres in 10-2, and it would be awesome if they released maybe Yuna with the guns, the pistols. That'd be a cool look. But regardless, all I'm hoping for at this point is that they do release the rest of FF10 main cast. I would love to get an Orin, a Lulu especially. Oh man. And then of course, like, Waka, Riku. Will they do Seymour? I think Seymour, they were hoping Seymour would be a new Sephiroth. And I just don't think Seymour ever went that route. He just wasn't as awesome as Sephiroth. And no one is really. Sephiroth is like one of the best villains in any video game ever made. Seymour is cool though. He would be a nice addition to the FF10 PlayArts Kai line. So we'll see. They've made FF10 stuff throughout the years. Back in the day, I had Yojimbo, I had Bahamut from an earlier line in the early 2000s. I sold them on eBay years ago. I wish I wouldn't have, but, seller's regret. We all have done it. So yeah, anyways, I'm rambling, but I'm just really enjoying, thinking about, my time with FF10, how it got me into JRPGs originally, and how I'm enjoying playing through the game another time. It's been a long time since I played through the whole thing. And I still have the strategy guide. I wish more games had strategy guides. I know you can go online nowadays, but it's cool having that book in your hand and going through it. So anyways, give me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this figure. And until next time, this has been PlayArts Kai, Final Fantasy X Yuna. Thanks for watching.